Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Price. I'd like to welcome you to Back to School Night. Thanks for checking in tonight. I know it's not a whole lot like our regular Back to School nights, but glad that you could join me anyway. It's my third shot at recording this. I don't know what's going on, but the first two times I did not have sound, so there's an old saying, a third time's a charm, so we'll see if that works. I'm Mr. Price. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I just found out this is my 30th year of teaching, so it's kind of hard to believe. I've been teaching social studies here for all those 30 years. I've taught government, world cultures, American history, advanced placement, U.S. history, and now sociology. I have maybe a couple classes to go yet, and I will have taught them all. But anyway, Mrs. Schmid taught the class for many years, so I was kind of anxious to pick up sociology. It's always been a topic of a lot of interest and one that I knew I would enjoy teaching, and certainly did so the first semester, even though the conditions were not perfect, but hopefully things are getting better along the way. I'm excited to have full classroom students back this week. When I'm giving this video, it's the week before, but by the time you see this, we'll be back. Hopefully things are going well and can continue to progress. So anyway, so this is sociology. What I'm going to do is I'm going to present my window, and I'll show you the syllabus kind of quickly, and the syllabus is available online in my course, so you can check out your son or daughter's Schoology class, and the syllabus is at the beginning. Just want to talk a little bit about sociology, kind of the approach that we're going to take in some of the bigger topics that we're going to do this year. So I'm going to present, hold on just 1 second here. All right, so here's the sociology syllabus. I'm going to read maybe some parts of it, but most of them just going to kind of give you a quick overview of it. But anyway, sociology is an elective class, and it's centered around the idea of group behavior. And one of the things that we want to do is challenge the way that students think and give them a better understanding of the people, how they think and act, and those kinds of things. So a couple things. Course objective at the end of that was, and why they act the way they do. Sorry about that. Course objectives. By the end of the course, students will be able to correctly identify causes of critical social issues through a systematic study of social behavior and change. So we're going to look at the way people behave, how behavior is changing, and look at the causes of those things. And the nice thing about sociology, we don't judge everything we look at, and everybody's entitled to their own kind of worldviews. And I think sociology, for that reason, lends itself to different kinds of worldviews. And we're going to talk a little bit about different approaches to sociology and how different assumptions that people have sometimes impact kind of what they believe about sociology. So anyway, second thing, we're going to talk about comprehending roles and functions of social institutions and relationships among them. So social institutions could be schools, they could be popular clubs like Lions clubs, lots of different kinds of social institutions. Number three, demonstrate understanding of sociological theories and try to apply them to social phenomenon or situations. So this week, the week I'm giving this recording, we just got done kind of studying about those different approaches, and those approaches all are based upon some different assumptions. The first one is functionalism, the second one is conflict theory, and the third one is symbolic interactionism. And I always try to tell students it's not like there's one right or wrong answer. It's more like they can be used to study society from a different angle or viewpoint. Some of those perspectives are better dealing with some situations and some problems and some topic areas. So it's not like one is right and one is wrong. Students, maybe based a little bit on their worldview, might gravitate more towards conflict theory or symbolic interaction or functionalism, and that's perfectly okay, but I want them to understand that one's not right and one's not wrong. Fourth, demonstrate interest in taking part in social activities. Recent research, and this hasn't just started in the last number of years, it actually started even pre-internet days, that people noticed a bit of disconnect between people and their community. And there's a number of things that contribute to that. And we're going to talk kind of about the causes of that. And probably I don't think there are too many people that disagree with the fact that those kinds of things are important community connections, whether it's playing a role in your PTA or your local Lions Club, different things like that that connect people together, sometimes build common understanding. And I think the thought sometimes is that, especially in today's very partisan perspective that a lot of people have, that spending more time together with people that are a little bit different, you kind of come to an understanding. We're going to talk about the idea of putting yourself into other people's positions and understanding a little bit about where they came from and why. And I think when we understand those things, I think we tend to be more tolerant of other people and their viewpoint. And maybe we can turn this partisanship thing around a little bit and come to appreciate more of our similarities. Number 5, use sociological imagination to explain their life experiences in a broader social context. I say their life experiences, and think a little bit about how they impact who they are. And one of the first things I ask them is they make a list of the things that they think have impacted them the most. The lists are similar, but we also see some differences, and students were very good at being able to identify maybe how that impacted them, not just what happened to them, but also how it impacted their outlook on life or their behavior or whatever. So sociological imagination is kind of the ability to separate yourself a little bit and look in a little bit more depth at issues, whether it's your life or others. So there's some of the topics. We're going to start off, we did already, the nature of sociology, talk a little bit about the history and where it came from. We give credit to like urbanization and industrialization as kind of the push for people to say, hey, some things are going wrong, what can we do to fix it? Methods of sociological research. This week that I'm making the video, we're talking about things like case studies, participant observations, surveys, interviews, how we go about doing research in sociology. Talk about culture, which most of the students have talked about in American studies and world studies, so culture shouldn't be a new thing for them. The ideas of socialization and social interaction. And that is like how we learn, and that is the ideas of being with people and learn behavior. And again, like things like nature and nurture are going to be important. We're going to talk about what sociologists think about how much of our behavior and who we are is based upon how we were born versus, how we've been brought up and the social influences that we've had. So we're going to look at social structure, so class and stuff like that, which is always interesting. Groups and organization, deviance and social control. We're going to do a Socratic seminar on deviance, basically on the issue of like crime and punishment, what kinds of things are appropriate based upon some studies that we're going to look at, and they're going to be able to choose some of their own things to look at there as well. So that seminar is not really going to be a debate. It's more about kind of an enlightening in which they're going to share some ideas and talk about things. Stratification, how people are grouped, not just by wealth. Also social mobility. We're going to find out, well, in the United States, how likely is it that a poor person can grow up to become president? To what degree are we socially mobile? And we'll look at some facts and figures from around the world. And while a lot of times we'll do United States perspective on this, we'll also take looks around the world as well. Social inequality, how people are not equal based upon things like wealth and race and ethnicity, gender, and even age, how we're impacted by those different kinds of things. And again, a lot of times people tend to come with the belief that, well, if you can vote, if you're have the same rules and laws that apply to everybody, everybody's treated the same. But we're going to look at a little bit more depth of some things that maybe are kind of behind the scenes a little bit, where there's issues of discrimination that we might not always be aware of. and that goes for plenty of different groups. As we get towards the end, probably the last formal chapter we'll do will be one on family, and then they have a choice of some topics at the end of the year that they're going to kind of do on their own and do a couple things as the final project goes. So we have religion, government and economy, education, health and medicine, communities, population, collective behavior, social change. We'll also talk a little bit about research again at the end. So those are all topics they have to pick from. The textbook you should be seeing is Sociology and You. We'll also use sociology as well as kind of our secondary textbook for a couple areas that we'll look at this year. I will tell you up front that the sociology textbooks are outdated, so I will supplement a lot with up-to-date facts, figures, research, and stuff like that. But I do like the textbook. It's very readable. It has a nice balance of different kinds of features that go along with each chapter, like controversial issues or case studies and things like that. Methods of instruction, lecture, experiments, simulations, tests and quizzes, critical thinking activities. We'll do, like most of the topics, we'll have videos that go along with them. Most of them are not super long videos. We might, towards the end of the year, I showed the movie Iron Jawed Angels, which was about the women's rights movement at the end, which I think is a really good one, and students did enjoy that. So that might be the only longer one that we do, but there are a lot of relevant videos that I have that I share with them. Let's see, personal reflective journal, essays. They do a lot of like paragraph responses to some of the videos. They'll probably do at least one 5-paragraph essay. If we do an actual research project, that essay will be based upon that. If not, it might just be based upon some research, like library research of a topic. Like last semester we did the issue of discrimination, and students had a bunch of different topics within that area that they could choose from. Speeches, definitely plan on doing at least one. I know we'll have to see how that works out with, the rules and stuff like that. Data analysis, library research, and then each chapter has a study guide that they're expected to keep up with the reading, complete the study guide, and that's the basic content that they have to know for chapter tests. Tests, pretty much, I think I have it here, around 40% tests and quizzes as far as the percent goes. So each chapter has a test at the end, usually made up of vocabulary that's matching, a lot of times some true, false, some examples and short answer, and the occasional essay question as well. And there's the rest of about the breakdown. I don't do weighted grading, but it usually turns out to look something like that. And again, the syllabus is on their Schoology page. It shows the different chapters we do. And then starting with around like chapter 11 or 12, we start getting into the individual topics. So that's kind of what we're going to cover this year. Let me just stop sharing for a minute. And again, I'm really looking forward to it. If you ever have any questions, one of the things I want to encourage you to do is send me a message. We can do it by Schoology, email, talk by telephone. I'm going to try to do a good job of getting, and I usually do, of getting on top of students that get behind in work. My general policy, I'll say right off the top, is that I usually don't count late work. I mean, I count it for full credit. Most students are good at still keeping up with the due dates. Some students fall behind a little bit, but I think in the end, by taking a lot of late credit off, it discourages the completion of that work. But I also tell them, if we have 5 graded activities in a chapter and you do 2 of them, those activities are all focused on what they have to know and what's on the test and that sort of thing. So, all right. So I want to thank you again for coming out tonight, and hopefully record worked okay this time. And again, I just want to encourage open communication and tell them to talk to me as well. I'm always open to communication. Hey, thank you again, and have a great night.